Hello, this is Sarah Tuberty, your host from Disarming Disability. Enjoy the following program on Public House Media. What's up, guys? Welcome to Your Life Matters podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mariah White, and I am a passionate pediatric nurse practitioner and fired up health and happiness coach here to deliver a message to you. This podcast is meant to provide a hope and a dream that fuels your soul to dream big and to dream bold and to inspire and empower you to live out your wildest freaking dreams and to grab a hold onto the unwavering truth that you were made for more. What's up, guys? Happy Tuesday. I am so freaking excited that you have made it through this journey this far with me and the other amazing speakers on this amazing call about how unity can come together in one specific spot. I am just so grateful that you allowed us to share our stories, our pain, our hurt, our backgrounds, where we come from, how we view things, all in one spot. And I appreciate more than you will ever know the outpour of messages and people just coming to me, just expressing how grateful they are for this podcast, for the talk, for what I'm doing and helping people learn and unlearn, grow and do better. So I'm so grateful for you. So I'm excited. Take a listen to this very last part of this conversation, and then we will get back to our regular scheduled programming. Every single Tuesday, you'll hear a message from me where I am helping you uplift yourself and encourage you and empower you to live out your wildest dreams and to grab a hold onto the unwavering truth that you were made for more. What do you have to say as a biracial woman?
Well, I just think it's interesting when she asked me to come on as a biracial woman, because it's been probably 30 years since I've identified as that. I grew up in the 80s and 90s. I was rejected by the white side, family included. I don't even call them family. They were relatives. We share a little bit of DNA. And my Black side of the family was never an issue. I did to some of the light skin jokes on the in my community, but I was never rejected. So I grew up identifying as Black. It is what it is. I think what it comes down to now, we're getting more into the nitpicky, what are you? Because we are living in such a divisive political climate in our nation that we have to say where we stand on something in order to figure out which group we're supposed to go in. So I think the purpose of this conversation, the perfect purpose of anything that's related to this movement is that now is a time to unite. Regardless of what you're identifying as, regardless to the experiences you've had or not had, we're looking at the divisiveness and the situation that's going on. George Floyd is one of so many situations that have taken place. It's interesting to see things have changed since the 60s. So now you've got a lot of people of different colors going out there and protesting. They are appalled. But you have to understand, this is one that was actually caught on video. What I need everyone to understand is that this happens to us every day. And so, I think the difference with how we're raising kids compared to how I was raised, you were raised different than I was raised, is that we need to support them. We need to answer difficult questions. We need to have uncomfortable conversations, and we need to educate our kids, no matter what color they are, the history of the Black community, so that we can be not just sensitive and accepting. I don't want you to accept me. I just want you to know who I am and what's going on in the world. So my hope is that everyone takes the time to educate themselves, educate your kids, expose them to uncomfortable things, because guess what? You shelter them, they're in for a big surprise when they get older. A big surprise. If you are keeping your kids from what's going on because you even have that choice, that's an issue. That is a huge issue, because it's my civic duty to try to help all my neighbors. And if you're going through it, I'm going through it. So I hope that the takeaway is that, and then that's all I got to say, really.
Yeah. And being proactive and understanding that, we touched on it a little bit, having a biracial daughter versus a biracial son, there's a difference in how things need to be said. There's a difference in how they need to go about things. And I know before we got on the call, Lee had asked Tori in Virginia about kind of empowering her Black sons and godsons. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I mentor a lot of kids. I have kids that call me mom more than they talk to their own biological mothers. I have a lot of young Black men that I have mentored, and the schools that I have taught in, my kids are called thugs. It's a last stop school for the kids that have gotten kicked out of other schools, or that's just all they have left. I've had these quote unquote big Black thugs come in my room bawling their eyes out because of the experiences that they have. I come into school sometimes on a Monday hoping that nobody got shot over the weekend. My boys have told me about being slammed on the concrete by police officers. One of my young men, he said he was going to go to Scottsdale, which again, he was going to go and go on a date with a white girl. And my conversation with him was, okay, so now if y'all get pulled over, please tell her to be quiet and just sit there. Because if she starts popping off, but then again, if she's too quiet, they might think that you're doing something to her. Matter of fact, I want you to call 911 if you get pulled over, and let them know that you're being pulled over and where you are. And push record on your phone, because I don't want anything. Don't reach for anything. Just keep your hands on the steering wheel. Say, yes, officer, no, officer. And if she starts talking about, I want to see your badge, and we're going on and on and on. And I have to prepare him for this. And he's like, Miss, you tripping. Am I? And some of you may never, ever have to have that conversation with your son. And me growing up in the 80s and 90s and going through the racism that I went through, I worked so hard to get a college education. I worked so hard because as parents, we all want better for our kids. And here I am with a 5-year-old having to prepare her for everything that I went through 30 years ago. This will not stop unless we have support, because the difference between now and then, no one supported me. And it's not that only the white voice matters. It's just that the oppressed voice is very seldom heard. So please join in unity. You don't have to be a savior. You just have to be somebody that locks in arms and say, hey, we're going to get through this together, whatever it is that we got to go through. So.
Yeah. So that's very powerful. I see a lot of amazing Black women. Thank you so much for sharing this, that you are a Black mother, raising Black men, raising Black males within this time. And it's just super hard to kind of wrap your head around. I hope that this was helpful and eye-opening. Alex, do you still want to touch on healthcare? Do you want to open up for Q&A?
I actually wanted to talk more about Beachbody.
Oh, yeah, I think that's a great segue. We're going to kind of, if everybody, all the speakers are okay with that, we were just going to go into the last piece. Yeah. Okay. So the last piece, and Alex, you can start it, is we want to help you move forward in life, unlearn and learn, move forward, but also as coaches, predominantly Beachbody coaches on this call. Otherwise, if you're a blogger, entrepreneur, influencer, what have you, we want to share some tips on how to move forward successfully in your business. So Alex, go ahead and take it away.
So I do want to touch a little bit more on my experience, because I know most of you guys are Beachbody coaches on here, and I want you to understand, even within our company, the things that I feel that I know other minorities in Beachbody feel. I touched on when I went to my first summit, I had no idea what I was going to experience. I honestly didn't even think I was going to work the business. But when I went, I loved our culture. I loved how Beachbody treats us. I love the recognition. I love all of the things, but I can't help not mentioning that when I looked across the huge stadium, I could barely see any Black people. When I looked down into all the elite, the premier, is that one I see down there? You have to realize that when people become a part of something, if they don't see someone who's up there who looks like them, they don't feel like they can do it. I've come from a place where I have always been around white people. So I've always been like, well, I got to do it. I got to be the change. I got to be the person who's going to be that for other people. So when I came into Beachbody, in my head, it was a question. Do I want to do this fight? Do I want to have this fight? I believe in the mission, and I believe that this has the power to transform lives. But really, God, do I have to do this again? Do I have to do this again? Can I do this? Is it possible? You know, last summit, I remember Artina being on stage, first Black person I've ever seen in any type of capacity speaking on a stage at Beachbody. And she mentioned something about, you know, a Black woman, and I'm sitting there with my entire white team, and I'm like, yeah, like, and I felt uncomfortable being like, yeah, because none of the white girls around me were saying, yeah. You know, like I decided to take this on, and you guys have to understand, part of the reason why I decided to not just be a coach, but to become a Star Diamond coach, to become an elite coach, to push myself. I'm a full-time pharmacist. It is hard as hell to work this business with a full-time job. I applaud all of you guys who are doing it. It is not easy. And for me, part of what pushes me each day is because I'm like, dang, like, I love Beachbody. I love what we stand for. But if the people we're helping look anything like our organization looks, which it does, let's not play. If our organization looks like the people that we are helping, we have a problem. Period. I don't care about how good our mission statement is. We have an issue. And it's like, I realize that what I'm putting on myself is to become one of those people up there who someone else who looks like me, who looks Asian, who looks Indian, can be like, oh, there's some diversity up at the top. You know, like, oh, it is possible for me to get up there. She did it. And I want my team to be a reflection of what I believe that this company should look like. That photo of 20,000, 30,000 coaches working outside. What does that photo look like to you guys? Our mission and what Carl is pushing for is to reach the world, is to go into every single country. And we have Beachbody On Demand streaming on every single TV in any capacity possible in this nation, in this whole world. That will not happen if Beachbody looks the way it does, continuing in the next years to come. I promise you, it's not going to be successful. What happens when we go to Asia? How many Asian coaches do you guys know? It's not going to happen, period. So what I implore you guys to do is, once again, reflection, self-reflection, but then also be in that fight with me, because I don't have a voice. I feel like I don't have a voice in this company until you reach a certain level. So that's why I'm working my ass off to finally reach 5-star. I don't know. I asked Jen the other day, you know, how many coaches are in those elite things? Like, you know, like when you go and you guys get celebrated in Phoenix this fall, like how many Black coaches are there? And she's not someone who sees like that, but I'm pretty sure Artina's the only one. Like, that's mind-blowing to me, you guys. So therefore, I've put on myself to get a seat at that table so that I can even create a voice for the average Black girl. Because I can promise you right now, the average Black girl does not see this opportunity as something that she wants to be a part of, that she can succeed in. The average Black girl. I'm not talking about the superstars or like people with these huge fitness accounts. The average Black girl does not see a place here. And I'm someone who's been amongst in the predominantly white field. So I can find a place here, but I want for everyone to be able to see a place here. And it's hard for me even talking to fellow Black girls, because when they look at my materials, I'm with all white girls. And it's like, okay, well, like, does she like white people more than Black? No, it's just, I have to force my way into this space. And it shouldn't be like that. I shouldn't have to force myself into this space. And then hopefully my voice could reach the right Black girls who have been in the situation as me, and they listen to my mission and my vision for our team and how I want it to be super diverse, and I want more Black girls in Beachbody in general, and they feel like having that fight, because it's a fight. And not the average Black girl is wanting to have that fight again. So we have work to do, and I know it's gonna have to come corporate down, and I hope that they amplify the Black voices in Beachbody, because you guys, just like there's money put into things to reach different cultures and companies when they're trying to get more diverse, there's money that needs to be shifted in the company to reach these communities of people that don't look like everybody else. Because I promise you, this mission of reaching the world, there's no other way it's going to happen unless Beachbody starts to look like the world.
Amen. And then Alex, that was powerful. She was giving me chills. I was seeing everybody talk about National Wake Up Call. Yes, yes, yes. There's a reason why we were talking and we shared in this. And then I just want to come at it as you guys said, congratulations to being a 5-star qual. Next week, my team, I love my team, will be a 5-star team. Do you guys even know my name before this call? Did you know who I was? Do you know that I've been a 2-time premier team? Do you know that? That's the problem. That's what Alex is talking about. And just like along with Alex, it was as soon as Artina was up there, he was like, yes, yes. Like, and I'm screaming. And Alex was surrounded by white coaches, but I had 3 women of color with me who were all like, yes, yes, yes. And I look at them and I said, we will get there. And now I want to share with you, I've been at that table. It's a table that I don't really like. It's a table that I still am not accepted at. And I want that to change. So if I could take Alex's talk and saying, yes, we need to get there, but then amplify a step further, I have earned a seat at the table. And this past Wednesday, I wasn't acknowledged at that table. I did earn a seat to have premiere on my wall. I did earn a seat for 2 times. I've been a full-time nurse practitioner, and I have hit these huge milestones. And now walking into 5-star, I'm telling my team, like, I'm going to be at leadership, and I'm going to talk, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to stand up. And I remember speaking at an event at Summit, and I was in front of everyone knowing that I was the only Black woman speaking, but I knew that it wasn't until my white counterparts came behind me and validated what I said, until somebody trusted what I said. And I'm saying with Alex, along with ringing ears, is we need to change that. Would I be happy? I don't know. Have we ever had a Black person speak on the National Wake Up Call? Please let Alex be the first one. Have we? I think the answer is no. Why? That's what we're talking about. So she's right. When we go to Asia, Australia, Italy, like, nobody's going to see that they can truly do it. So we need to speak. Okay, Artina has. So thank you, Jen. So 1, how many coaches are there? 450,000 last I checked. We need to speak in unison that we need more diversity. We need people on our team that are diverse, and we need a place where we can offer inclusion. 100%. Jen, Tori, is there anything that you want to add, Lee? Anything you want to add in terms of moving forward? I would just say invite the human. Send your invites in order to talk to humans. Speak light into humans. A lot of people are trying to navigate their social media like, do I talk about this? Do I not? Am I insensitive? Am I like all of these things where you kind of just feel like you're on eggshells? I don't want you to be on eggshells. I want you to stand for what you believe, shed light in difficult conversations. But then when you are in your inbox and you're in your DMs, actually ask the question, how are you? And be ready to respond and hear what they're really feeling. I've been doing that all week. I'm at Success Club 10. My business is still going. I'm still inviting, but I'm asking the hard question. How are you? I'm not doing so good. Okay, Neither am I. It's really hard. I went from hurt to anger to frustration, and now I'm empowering. I want you to be on this call on Saturday, but I want you to be a part of this community of inclusion. I want you to know that you have a place here at the seat at my table, and that you are welcome and you are accepted. Are you willing to have that conversation with the people that need it the most? You can still hit Success Club. You can still move forward. You can still talk about being anti-racist and supporting anti-racism and move forward in this. Tori, Jen, anything you want to add?
I think just make an effort to diversify your team. And I feel like actually thinking back on some of our trainings, I feel like that's where the downfall is coming from, because a lot of times they're like, what are the 5 things about you? You're looking for people exactly like you. And I think that's something that we definitely need to change because of our mission. We need to reach all people. You want all people to experience this, not just people that are like you. And that's something that, you know, I didn't even think of, but going through the trainings, looking back when I was a brand new coach, that's one of the things that they say. So just really be aware of this and make it your mission too. There was like 250 people on this call. Make sure it is your mission to bring in people from different cultures and backgrounds, because not only is it going to help us reach even more people, it's going to make your team even better. It's going to make your team be friends with people that they may never have met in their life, and it'll make the world a better place, not just Beachbody.
I feel like that those are all like great points to end on, but I feel like the only one thing that I would say is these conversations are hard, but if you're not acknowledging it on your social media in some way, some shape or form, like I wrote a post the other day where nobody's asking you to have the perfect words, the perfect like story to relate to everything. But if you're not acknowledging it, you're not opening those doors to other people. If you're saying that you want this whole diverse team, you want all of these things, you have to address it, and you have to show that you're open, that you have understanding, that you're there to support them. And if you're not addressing it, you're not opening that door and you're closing it. And that's the same thing as silence.
100%. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up for Q&A. The first question that I saw was from Liz. Liz, thank you for dropping that question in there. Alex, I'm going to direct it to you. How do we make sure to address the extra obstacles that minorities face when trying to invite?
So when it comes to that, you guys, I honestly feel like just like Beachbody preaches authenticity, if you truly are someone who wants that diversity, who wants that inclusion, this has to be a part of your narrative, period. If you want other Black girls who can be rock stars in this business to be your friend and to be on your team and for your team to look like that, you got to speak on that. And you have to get in those inboxes of every single person, not just people who look exactly like you, and give them the opportunity to know you. Just like we're taught, follow people, like their stuff, help them get to know you better, because then they're going to go to your stories and they're going to learn more about you. They have to feel safe on your team. They have to feel like, oh, I can know, and trust her. People who are friends with Virginia, they feel that way partly because she has a Black husband, but also, she's just herself and she will speak out when she needs to speak out, and a Black person would feel comfortable on her team, right? For me, I feel like, I don't know, I've just been around so many different types of people that I'm easy to relate to, but I also make it a point to not, when I'm looking for people to like and follow and start to have conversations with, I literally, for anybody and everybody, I don't care. Like, I'm sending you a message and I might be the first Black person who's been in your inbox, but I don't care. And I'm not afraid of that. That's something I know that's part of my mission on my team in general, like my mission for my team. So I don't have the opportunity to be like, oh, well, she's Asian and she looks like she only hangs out with Asians. And so I feel uncomfortable hopping in her message box and being like, hey girl, like you look like my person. Like, I just stalked your page. Like, hey, like I do that. And it's something that you have to reevaluate your own business and see if you're doing too, because at the end of the day, it's not about your color. It's about who you are, and you have to be authentically you. And if you haven't been like that and you don't think that you've been necessarily showing inclusion and you haven't found anybody who is diverse, it's time to do that.
Awesome. Alex, that's wonderful. I saw a question of how we can find the recording. Obviously, the leaders of this call will have the recording and post in their team page. I will also post it as a swipe up feature on my personal Instagram. I'm sure Alex, Virginia will do the same. So if you're trying to find it, obviously go to one of our Instagrams and we'll have it there for you. The next question I want to ask, Jillian, I really appreciate your vulnerability in sharing this personal question. I'm going to ask it and direct it towards Lee. She said, how do you approach a racist parent? What do I tell my father and how do I correct him? His comment to this call right now while she's watching was, what are you watching? Propaganda?
So I wish I had the 100% correct solution for this. Me personally, all I can say is one, lead by example, regardless to whether it's a parent saying something like that, a neighbor, whoever. You have to stand firm in your beliefs. Now, you don't have to try to change him, because probably, I'm guessing your dad's he's up there, and a lot of people like that are not going to change. But all you can do is continue to lead by example so that he can see the type of woman his daughter is. I don't try to force anything down anyone's throat. He has his own beliefs and you're going to have yours. You have to figure out of those two, which one do you want to stand for? You don't have to, sometimes you're going to have to dissociate yourself psychologically from him during certain conversations and then get back because that's your family. But again, that's his generation, that's his beliefs. Just stand firm in what you believe in and set that example and stay like a rock for the people that you're trying to support.
Also, to add on to that, you guys, sometimes you have to be the person who makes that change and make other people feel uncomfortable. Like, we're uncomfortable sometimes. Like, if you continue to say that in my presence, I don't want to be around you that often. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it takes you being blatant to friends and family members where it's like, look, if you're going to be talking about that, I'm leaving. They love you. Even if there's a sliver that they could change their heart, it's going to be on you to make that change because they already love you. They care about you. So therefore, if you're in those situations and you can't just sit back and take it either. Don't just sit there and be like, oh, he's not going to change, so I'm just going to let him talk whatever he wants to talk. And I'm going to let my kids be around him so they can be infected by that.
Absolutely.
Or whatever it is. Like, make some people feel uncomfortable too.
Absolutely.
I want to give an example. My grandparents, whom I grew up with, both white, they were born in the 1920s, and they used to say colored when they talked about Black people. And we're sitting at the dinner table one night, I was a teenager, and I said, can you stop saying that? Well, why? That's just how we talk. Doesn't mean anything. I'm not a racist. And I had to say, okay, what color am I? Do I look like you guys? And they were like, well, no. I said, when other people on the street, if they said, hey, colored girl, or some other sort of racial epithet, I would have to sit there and be like, that hurts me. So as your child, as your grandchild, does it hurt you to see me hurt? And they said, yes. I said, then please stop using that term. So I think, like, if you can find a way to let those people feel it from where they're sitting, then maybe it'll help them experience some sort of empathy. But Alex, you're absolutely right, because sometimes we have to make a choice. Who do we really want in our lives that often? Who are we really going to raise our children around? So,
yeah. Virginia, that's a great point, both of you. I appreciate you. Virginia, I'm going to ask you this question from Ashley. Again, thank you so much for feeling safe enough to ask the question. I've seen some of my Black friends saying that they are tired of people messaging them and asking how they're doing, which I totally understand. So how do I approach my Black friends when I really do care about them and want to ask how they are doing during this time?
I feel like that's tough coming from me, but I feel like still say something. Because if you don't say anything, then they have no idea where you stand. Even if it's just a message saying thinking of you, or FaceTime them and be able to talk to them face to face so that they can see you and see that you know that they're hurting, so your heart is hurting for them too. I think that's the best advice. I've reached out to all my friends and just said thinking of you right now. I know it's hard, and my heart hurts for you. And that's what I've been saying. I don't know. I feel like you guys could say something back as well, because I don't know on the other standpoint, how that's being received. But overall, my friends have all been super, happy that I've reached out and said something and made the effort to acknowledge that, right now it's hard.
Yeah. And I guess I'll chime in. It's crazy because Rebecca, she said, some of the most impactful messages I've received is, I'm here, your life matters. Well, I have a podcast called Your Life Matters. So I talked about unsettling times like this. I share this episode. And for me, honestly, if I'm being completely honest, being on this side of it, my friends who haven't reached out to me, it's more hurtful. My friends who haven't posted about it, it's hurtful. The leaders that I surround myself who haven't talked about it, and I took time to be hurt and angry and then sit back and be like, okay, ask. I know this person's heart. I know this person's character. Now I'm going to ask you, why didn't you say anything? Please help me understand. Please help me understand why you didn't address me. Please help me understand why you didn't talk to me. So then I'm going to obviously wait for their response and then proceed the way that I need to. But I think a lot of us who are on the other side, and Alex can speak differently, me not receiving a message and you not acknowledging what's going on is you being silent, is you not caring. And whether you say, well, you're one of my good friends and you're Black, so I'm not a racist, you don't get a pass from me. You don't get a pass from me because you're not saying anything. Because you're not saying anything hurts more. So I would just say, I would keep sending the message and just be like, if somebody does the one-off time or like, stop asking that question, that's okay. But they at least know that when it came down to it and this hard time was happening, you did check on them.
And I'll chime in there too, just to have like just to get your wheels turning. And obviously this is not the same, but think of when you're younger and you learn. So say your friend has purple hair and somebody is picking on them and you just stand there. You don't say anything. You never check in with them. You're never like, I'm sorry that happened. They're so mean. Like, think of it in that way too. And you would reach out. Most people would say, I'm sorry that happened, or acknowledge some kind of way. So just think about it in that way too.
Yeah.
And also for me, I appreciate messages of people telling me, I'm standing by you. I'm so sorry about the stuff that's going on. Thank you for shedding light on different situations. I haven't even really talked on my Instagram stories about my experiences, because you guys have to understand, we've been going through this for years. And it's not like it's not fun for me to reflect on those parts of my life. It's not fun for me to experience it today. And so I appreciate the messages to know you're standing by me. But then when people ask questions about what they can do, it's like, I also have to protect my energy. I also have to protect my spirit, my soul. So I can't necessarily respond to every single message telling you what you can do. Like, you have to do that yourself, but just let me know that you're standing by me. I have a ton of messages that I haven't responded to yet, and I'm getting to them, but I had to protect my own energy and make sure I'm not draining myself trying to help people who don't understand me and don't understand my plight. But I also recognize that I do have a mission as a human being to let my voice be heard. And so I'm working on that as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Alex. So it's funny, Virginia had sent me a message last night and was like, can somebody please talk about this? And I was like, yeah, you. And me and Lee were both talking about it, and we're like, you talk about it. And I thought I would just say it, but also, Allie, thank you for your vulnerability. You touched on it right away. She said, I was listening to today's top hits on Spotify on Thursday while walking, and song after song had the N-word in it multiple times. And we talked about talked about Black people from Black songwriters. It's confusing why this is still acceptable and published. So, Jen, do you want to open up the forum for what your response would be to that?
Okay, number one, it is never acceptable to say it ever in a sentence, repeat it when somebody else has said it. Just never say it in a song, never sing it. Just don't say that part. And I watched a really good video because, to be completely honest, I've had that thought too. Like, why doesn't just everyone not say it? And I watched a really powerful video from an NFL player. I forget his name on the top of my head, but he just said that he said the same thing I said, just never say it, never repeat it. And especially in our business, you guys, we use music. Use the clean edited version. I mean, I feel like you should do that anyways with cuss words, just to be respectful. What if a mom's watching this beside her kid and it's just like, F this, N-word that, like, just avoid that. And the reason the NFL player said that, you know, Black people can say it or don't even ask the question, they've been oppressed. They've been told what to do their whole life. This is literally one thing that they are able to do that white people can't do. Just leave it. Just don't ask the question. Just, it is what it is. And just never, ever say it. It is disrespectful. And if you don't know what it means, Google it so you understand why it is so offensive.
And also, you guys have to understand the context. When Black people are saying it to one another, you have to realize that that was a derogatory word that was said like in spit, like disgust to us at some point in our history, not too long ago. And the way that Black people can flip that and make it, they've turned it into a term of endearment towards one another. Like everyone else around us are spitting it at us like this is an ugly word. So guess what? We're going to flip it and we're going to call it to each other as a term of endearment. When you hear us saying it to one another, you usually hear it as a term of endearment, but it's not to be construed as like we're saying it negatively towards one another, unless it's like a song where someone's like, be whatever, like, you know, there's those situations. But when you hear Black people say my N-word, they're saying, is it like it's a term of endearment, but it's just not acceptable for people of other races to call it to us. You know what I mean? Like, it's just historically a very derogatory word. And so just, yeah, what Jen said.
Yeah, thank you for adding that. This last question that I see right now, Tori, if you want to touch on this, Michelle, thank you. I have a very empathetic child who feels deeply to others' pain and causes a lot of anxiety for her. She has been struggling so much because she loves deeply. Like me, how much do you share with her without making her anxiety become damaging? When she doesn't understand the hate in the world, what approach do you take? My daughter has the biggest heart and has bullied, I'm assuming has been bullied a lot or already in her age.
The first thing that came to mind was limit her exposure of how much, but you have to have those conversations of how old is she? How old did you say? I think you're Michelle. I could see you. You can pull up your number. You can unmute.
She's 9.
So definitely have those conversations. I would ask her specifically starting out, how does she feel? How does she feel about this? What does she know? And get her stance on it, and then have the conversation with her.
We've had some deep conversations a lot lately.
Yeah. What does she think and how does she feel?
Doesn't understand why people would not love everybody. Like, just doesn't get it.
Like more of the confusion side of it?
Yeah, well, we live in a really not very diverse area at all. So, and just the whole idea of unlearning. And I'm just giving her the understanding that I'm learning.
Yeah. I would just keep reassuring her then and keep sharing those experiences.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think that's great. Tori, thank you for chiming in. My friend Jen is asking a question about protecting your personal space and your peace and your time and just your energy. And I think that's a great question that I'm going to answer is, it is okay to not be okay. It is okay to walk away, and it is okay. Your business will survive if you don't post for a day or 2 or a week. My dear friend, Kate Schultz, is doing a fantastic job of amplifying myelinated voices. And right now on her social media, as I want to say the last time I checked, she was number 7 in the company. She is sharing resources. She is talking with me we talk almost every day, and we have safe conversations, but she's sharing and she's saying that right now, yes, this is her income, her full-time income for her and her husband as a retired police officer. And right now she is sharing loudly what matters, because this is bigger than Beachbody. This is bigger than anything else. We need to be talking about that. So I would say, provide yourself with resources, but it's okay to walk away. There was times, and I was sharing with her, I was overwhelmed, I had a headache, I didn't feel good. I put my phone away and I just laid down. I took a nap. I stopped responding to text messages and phone calls because I didn't want to talk about it. And I prayed. I expressed my anger, my frustration in safe places. And then I was like, bless and release. What can I do with this? I can empower, I can inspire, I can come together. Like as soon as I was starting to get riled up, I called Jen, I called Tori, I called Alex, I talked to Leah. I said, we need to do this. I'm a person of action. So protect your energy, but then figure out why you're feeling what you are. I feel like meditation is really good. Working out, pressing play and encouraging other people to press play, drinking your daily superfoods if it allows you, if you don't have some type of health condition or medication. And then making sure that you are acting after you had that time to process. If you like candles, incense, sage, whatever it is that allows you to feel good. Maybe it's just putting your phone on airplane mode and do not disturb and walking outside. Obviously, Arizona is 116 degrees and not walking outside, but walking outside, getting some fresh air and just being calm. Maybe you don't listen to a podcast where other people are pouring into you. Maybe you don't listen to music that could potentially distract your thought process. Maybe you listen to piano chill music. Maybe you are just silent. Maybe you're listening to Zen yoga music while you're walking. Just really decompress and just figure out kind of where you are, if that makes sense. Dorian had asked, Mariah, you mentioned leaders not reaching out or even acknowledging the issue. How does one handle that? I will touch on it, and then Jen, Alex, Tori, feel free. I personally, as someone who experienced this past week, I needed to go through the stages of grieving. I needed to be hurt and sad and cry and remove myself. I needed to reach out to my dear friend Jen, who's on that same team, and ask questions and see if I was alone in my feelings. Then I needed to get very effing angry. And then I needed to be quiet. And I needed to go through those stages. And once I was quiet, I had to come at it from two different sides and two different perspectives. Because what I have been using as an analogy for a lot of my friends is Black people have been going through this for 401 years. This is a wound that has been there, and people constantly are ripping over the scab. For my white friends on this call, your wound was just made on Tuesday. Your wound was just made on Tuesday, and now you are feeling it. I apologize that you are hurting, but I am not sorry. And I say that with respect because I need you to feel it. I need you to be hurt. I need you to cry. I need you to get angry. And then I need you to take time to be quiet. And then I need you to act, not today, not tomorrow, not a year from now, for the rest of your life. So that is the difference. So how did I handle it? I went through all the stages. And when I was quiet, I came to her and I asked the question, because I want to understand. After the response is going to be given to me, then I'll go from there. But I ask the questions because I'm brave enough to. I am brave enough to make somebody else feel uncomfortable. And I'm brave enough to say, you hurt my feelings. And this is why. So I would say handle it and handle it head on. Alex, if there's anything, Jen, Tori, if you want to say anything to that.
Yeah, I think everybody processes differently. I wasn't someone who watched that and then was able to just like say all the things on social media, post all the things. Like I felt a deep generational pain. It's not even like a simple, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. Like this is something so deep that I can't even, it's hard to express it, you guys. Like this is something my ancestors has been through. I'm not someone who's like, oh, I'm Caribbean. Like I don't know my culture. So therefore that's how I know that I'm from the slavery times. Like my ancestors are from that. We lost our culture. I don't know if I'm from the Caribbean. I don't know if I'm African. I don't know where I'm from. My grandparents, two of them, super light-skinned, probably could have passed back in the day. The other two, and they're both married to one another, light-skinned, dark-skinned, super dark-skinned. That's why I'm the brown I am. My parents are as well. And this pain that I feel, it's deeper than just what a lot of people are experiencing. It's not from just me. I can feel that it's deeper than that. So just go through your process, but find a way that you are going to contribute, choose your lane, and go hard in that lane. Go hard in that lane. Like, I can choose to like go out and do protests and stuff like that, but I'm not in that position right now. I work in the military, you know, like I'm a part of the uniformed services and I'm an essential worker. So I'm not able to present myself in those cities. I live in a remote area. I came to serve the Native Americans because I recognize their plight in this country and I wanted to learn more about them. So I've been serving their communities for the past going on 4 years now. And so the only way that I can raise my voice and what I've came to by the end of this week is by promoting this and by promoting my health and by promoting other people to stay good. Like, make sure you're moving your bodies, make sure you're, you know, like eating good, take care of yourselves. But it's hard for me to say that to the Black community when they don't see themselves reflected in what I'm trying to do. So I just recognize that I have a big fight ahead of me. And it's so crazy that, you know, I don't know if a lot of you guys know, but I'm doing Insanity right now. And when I chose to do this a month ago, I had no idea that these events were going to happen. But I told myself, I was like, you're about to be in the fight of your life. And in my head, I'm about to be in the fight of my life to raise my business up to 5 stars so I can leave my job at the end of the year. No. I right now am in the fight of my life. And I had no idea it was going to deal with racial issues and stuff like that. So I just encourage you guys to, out of all the resources you find and things that you can do, choose one and commit to that. When you feel like you got that, choose another one. How can I advance it even more? What can I donate to now? Wait until you can afford to donate, but you got to pick a lane and just commit to it for life.
Yeah. 100%. And then I'm going to finish the call. Thank you so much for all of your time. I'm going to finish the call with 2 last questions and then statements from every one of the speakers. The question is from my dear friend Amanda about division within leadership. I'm going to come at it from a stance of a leader who is Black, and then I would like maybe Virginia or Tori to come at it from a stance as a leader who is white. My stance is very simple. You can't use me as your Black token friend, is what I saw in the comments. You can't use me as your proofreader. You can't use me as, well, my upline is Black. You can't say any of those things and it matter to me. What I want is you to be an ally in anti-racism. What I want is you to be an ally with me in this fight that, like Alex said, is a fight that we have been dealing with for all of our life. So my statement is simple. If you are not for me, I will try to understand where you're coming from, but at the end of the day, you are against me. I will not serve as a mediator between you and the other white coaches on our team. I will express to you my viewpoint and how I feel, but at the end of the day, if you are bullying any of my Black coaches, if you don't stand with me, you will, on my stance, not be welcome. And I say that not in a way of being crappy, but I know that there was a coach that was actually outwardly talking about racist things on her social media, and members of the Black, which is the organization of Black colored women, and Beachbody reported it. Compliance canceled her account and she is no longer with us, nor is she ever going to be allowed to be with us. And that is corporate compliance's stance on racism and bullying. So my stance is aligned with them. If you are on my team and you are bullying or you don't agree with me, you are not welcome on my team. And I will try to have an open conversation with you. I will try to allow a safe space. But after that conversation is over and we don't agree, you are not going to lash out your racist remarks or hatred towards anyone within my team, because just like Alex and the rest of the speakers have said, it is about unity, inclusion, solidarity, peace, and that is not welcome. So that's my take on it. Virginia, if you have anything that you want to add as a leader, how you would be.
So I think for a lot of people it's hard right now, which I get, but just say something, do something. And I know even for myself, and I feel like, you know, I have been through situations where this has come up before, so it's not my first time. If it is your first time dealing or being exposed, just say something. It may not be the right thing. And also have if somebody corrects you, be thankful that they reached out to correct you. I've seen a lot of people using the hashtag All Lives Matter, and I'll be honest, when this first Black Lives Matter hashtag came out, I think I put both because I just didn't know. I didn't understand. I thought, everybody gets where I'm coming from, right? All lives matter, of course. Black Lives Matter right now. But when you're using that hashtag, it comes off as you're being insensitive. And, you've seen the TikTok videos, and they've done such a good job of showing why you shouldn't use that hashtag right now and why Black Lives matters is the issue at hand. And I encourage you guys to dive in, and when you learn something, share it on your stories. Because if you're learning it, chances are a lot of your followers probably, and I hope that they're just naive or they just don't know, and hopefully this is a way you can educate them. So I know it's challenging. It's been even challenging for me too, because in the past, my husband's like, well, why now are you like Black Lives Matter? And I'm coming from the standpoint that, I've learned so much, and I want other people to learn and be able to join this movement and understand why it's so important. So that's kind of my standpoint in this.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful takeaway. And just being able to speak to that as leaders, every single one of you are leaders, and that's kind of how I want to end it. Every single one of you have the ability, Black leaders, white leaders, Mexican leaders, whatever, you are a leader. You were given this life, you were given this breath. And I always say this, and those of you who listen to my podcast, I say you're wanted, you're needed, you're worthy, you're loved, and you're more than enough. And that goes for every single human being on this earth. So what we, and I'm speaking for the unanimous speakers on this call, what we want you to take away from this is how to talk to your kids and help to empower them to be the next generation that dismantles racism and moves our world in a positive, more diverse and unified way. We ask that you understand that this isn't just a US issue, that this is a world issue. I want you to understand that as leaders, it is hard if you are in a multiracial couple, or you are biracial, or you are a healthcare provider like Alex and I, you are an essential worker. Whatever the case is, this is something that is being done and seen everywhere you go. And we just are asking you to do better, be better, act, and do not sit in silence. Because if I see you guys in Summit, I know this year it's virtual. If I see you guys at leadership, I want you to feel comfortable coming up to me and giving me a hug. I want you to feel comfortable going up to Alex and Tori and Virginia and every human being in that room and feel comfortable like you are safe and you are wanted and you are included. That's the difference. And that's what we want you to get from this call. So there was almost 300 people at one point on this call. We will share the recording with everyone who wants to hear it. Please, I know that we are going to get an influx of questions and comments in each of our inboxes specifically. Please understand that we have a lot of messages. We will get back to them. Continue to share. Continue to grow, be better, do better. Alex, Tori, Lee, Virginia, is there anything that you want to say before I end the recording and allow you guys to go on with your Saturday?
Yes.
And I appreciate you guys for hopping on. It means a lot. And don't hesitate to reach out to me. I will show love to everyone back. And I think that there's going to be a good thing that comes out of this. I think that this is something, although it's horrible the way it came out and the way that it happened, I think that hopefully our generation, because our parents' generation clearly didn't get it done, but I'm hopeful for our generation. I'm hopeful that every single one of you guys are going to be a part of the change. And although when I have kids, I'll have to have the same conversations with them because these things take time, I pray and hope that you guys will just really commit to your generation and the ones after you being different. And just love you guys.
I just wanted to say I'm pretty new to the Beachbody community. But something that I've noticed is that everyone here is all for improving their health, mental, physical. We go to great lengths. All of you, I've seen you guys in your workouts. Some of you have been working out during this, multitasking. We push ourselves physically for results. We push ourselves through these insane workouts and struggle and sweat and are, I'm not going to make it, but we push through for results. The same thing with what we are ingesting. Oh, I see that Chick-fil-A over there, but I'm going to go home and I'm going to eat a salad. I'm going to do whatever. And we push ourselves through those cravings, those things for results. In this situation, for those times when you start to feel extremely uncomfortable, remember what you do to push through uncomfortable times as well. This is also a workout for all of us. When we feel uncomfortable, remember that you are capable of pushing through for results. So hopefully we can all continue to encourage each other to push ourselves for results with this as well. Thanks.
And I just want to say thank you guys for showing up. I know a lot of people have been like, what do I do? And I feel like you just being on this call is a step in the right direction. And I talked about this on my stories yesterday. This is going to be the easy part. Learning. Mariah, can you mute everyone? What I wanted to say was this is going to be the easy part, learning and listening and absorbing, sharing things that are, helping you. What I really want you guys to be able to do is take this into your everyday life. Now apply it. Honestly, sharing on social media about this is easy because you're having all these resources from other people. Now, honestly, for me, I'm practicing situations. Like if anyone was to say anything to my husband, what am I going to say? How am I going to stand up? Because for my Enneagram 9s out there, I hate confrontation in any situation. When you include race, oh my gosh, this is super uncomfortable, but you have to get uncomfortable and say something. Say something. So I've been like practicing. What would I say in that situation? I can't be the one in shock. He's going to be in shock. He doesn't want to have to stand up for himself. So I'm going to have to say something. And same goes to my friends in situations. What am I going to say to my friends if somebody says something that I'm not okay with? You have to get used to being uncomfortable and calling people out. But thank you guys so much for being on here. I appreciate it so much. And I appreciate everybody that came on here and spoke because this was not easy for any of us for different reasons. So I'm glad that we were able to come to you guys today.
I feel like there's nothing left to say. Like, this was amazing, and I appreciate everybody getting on. If anybody has questions, the inboxes are always open. Any thoughts or anything?
Alex, is there anything you want to say, or I'm going to kind of wrap it up?
I'm good, you guys.
Okay. So I'm going to cry. I brought this sweet baby who's very tired, but I'll come here. Out from her playroom. Her sister was entranced in all the videos that she was watching. She is 13 months old. Bianca, say hi. She doesn't see color on this screen in the way of anybody going to hurt her. I need your help to make sure that the world that she goes into loves her and sees her for the happy baby that she is and the wonderful human that she is. So I'm asking you to be better, to do better, to act, and not be silent. And if you can't do that for me, or Lee, or Tori, or Jen, or Alex, I'm asking you to do it for her. I love you guys so much with all of my heart. And I thank you so much for being honest and open to being on a call at 7 a.m. that lasted almost 3 hours. I am so grateful for every single one of you, and you have a special place in my heart. For any of you who are watching the recording, please message us and know that I love you and you have a special place in my heart. And I want you guys to have a wonderful Saturday. What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of the Your Life Matters podcast. I'm so grateful that you're here. I just ask that you share this episode with somebody. I ask you to just share it and give it to somebody who could potentially need to hear this message. I really am on a mission to help hundreds of thousands of people to believe that their mess is their message and that their story really does matter and that above all, their life matters. I'm so grateful that you're here. I want you to share this episode. And then on top of that, if you could please leave a rating or a review or both. Let me know what speaks to you. Let me know what you need to hear. Let me know what you've connected with, because that's going to be the best way that I can make sure that I'm giving you guys exactly what you need. I love you guys with all my heart. I'm so grateful for you, and I want you to know the difference and the impact you guys make in my life. I love seeing your messages. I love seeing when you guys private message me or screenshot it and share it on Instagram or Facebook, because it lets me know that this podcast is doing exactly what it was meant to do. And it's to make sure that there's an impact being made and to help remind you and everyone else that your life